Yes, live.
Good evening, namaste. Welcome to episode 9 of Indian Football News on this auspicious day of April 1st, where we dedicate this episode to AIFF, who don't just stay true to this day on this particular day, but have been staying true to it all year round and dedicate the entire year to this auspicious topic only. So we dedicate this evening to AIFF. And over here, I'm joined by Paresh Bhai, who yeah, who is journalist with Khel Now and is a very avid Indian football follower and also covers a lot of Indian football. I'm also joined by Srijan Bhai, who is also a very avid Indian football follower and is a journalist with Sports Kida. And he is also a really big critique of Indian football. So right now, as we all know, it's a very tumultuous time in Indian football. A lot has been happening. So no better time to get to know things that are happening from experts like them. So first things first, I'd like to start with Srijan Bhai, as he was the one on ground covering the entire Indian football tragedy unfold in Guwahati in front of him. So I'd like to ask him his entire experience from where, like before the game, during the game, and also after the game, like what was happening and how he was feeling as things unfold. So Srijan Bhai, like share your experience with us.
Okay. It was a debacle. So
Yeah.
let's start from the start. It started
Yep.
right during the pre-match press conference. The
Hmm.
day before, when you see have the pre-match press conference, it was there, right there in that moment. You could feel that there was this tension in the air, with everyone talking about, given how we performed in the away league in Abha in Saudi Arabia. And then coming to it, Ashley Westwood made a very good statement that, the planning that Afghanistan did, this is to say, this is a country run by the Taliban. Okay.
Hmm.
They reached India after the away game, before India reached India. So they had that
Yep.
planned out. So they came in here before the Indian national team could land here. We were hearing all those chatter about private jets and whatnot and whatnot.
Hmm.
Thank God we arrived for the game. Well, and Afghanistan were better planned, better prepared. They knew what had to be done. They had players that had that know Indian football, and they also have players that are not playing football at anywhere. Ashley was very clear. He has 6 players, 5 to 6 players who are without clubs. They don't play club football. All they can do is just train around in their locality, play kickball around. Coming to India's point of view, Steamac was again vocal in the pre-match press conference about the camp, the long duration camp, and he was questioned by several journalists that being an international coach, how can you expect to get camps before every international game you play? That is not possible. Then you are either asking the federation to run just a 2 month league like ISL was a circus back then, you know, or else just stop the national leagues and just keep the players in camp. This is illogical. And then I have this point coming to his camp statement. He said Afghanistan had a very long duration camp in Abha and so and so. So when I spoke with Ashley, and what I came to know is in January 3rd, mid Jan, they had a 3 week long camp in Abha in Saudi Arabia. What it was mainly was, it was a trial where Ashley had called up a lot of players from across the globe and even from Afghanistan. He wanted to try new players out, and from that camp, 50% of the players were sent back. They're not part of the squad that beat us here in Guwahati. They were not part of it. It was just more of like a, what do you call it, a trial camp that we had. In that During that same period that Steamac says they had a camp, long camp. Okay, if not a camp, Steamac had those boys, this bunch of players with him for the Asian Cup. They were there in Qatar. They were together. They were training. They were playing way better competitive football. Yes, the goal was different. The aim was different, but you were training. You were preparing, and you went into the Asia Cup telling us not to expect anything. When you have that players with you and you already know you're not progressing to the next round, You should have thought of these games that are coming up in March. You should have prepared them that way. Come March, Afghanistan just had 3 days more practice than us. And this is with players that are not playing football. Our guys went into the game playing in a league, at least, playing in a better quality league compared to the Afghan players. And when you just keep blaming and look out for excuses, what you're doing is you're not looking at yourselves the drawbacks that were there. So this was pre-match, and everyone got a feel of it that the next day it's not going to be rosy or anything. Come match day, you could see, it was like Assam, particularly Guwahati and its neighboring areas. So Holi here is celebrated 2 days, and mostly like when rest of India celebrates Holi, our main Holi here is the day next to it. So it was a local holiday here also. Vehicles and everything were low. I really didn't expect this amount of turnout, but we had a good turnout in Guwahati that day. It was really good, and you could sense that okay, fine. Now there's optimism in the air. Fans were lighting up flares, smoke bombs. They were cheering. There was a lot of traveling fans, like traveling in the sense of from nearby areas. Shillong. You had from North Bengal, Bongaigaon, these areas. You also had some of the Blue Pilgrims guys, 3, 4 guys traveling from other cities too. So it was a good atmosphere. People were positive around, feeling that maybe we could do something. And then the match started, and then we could see what do you call it? It was not football that we played. To be honest, we didn't play football. We were just running around the park. It is probably one of the most shittiest games of the Indian national team I've seen live. I've seen quite a few, and this is probably one of those shittiest games I've seen live in the stadium. Like, we weren't able to stitch two proper passes together. You don't need camps for that. We looked like a side without a plan. We didn't know what to do. And then Steamac goes on to say, I cannot help the players on the pitch. Strikers have to finish it. I get it. Manveer had to finish that chance in the third minute or fourth minute, whatever it was. Things happen. More you create chances, the more you have a chances of scoring. You can't rely on that thing that will create one chance and then will score. Afghanistan had more shots than us. We couldn't control midfield. We didn't know what our plan was. Ashley Westwood completely destroyed Steamac tactically. Give or given whatever he had, he's saying like, I didn't have Jingan, no Sahal. Fine, it's okay. Like, so we are as a side are aiming to go to the third round of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, right? That's a huge stage. The teams that we'll be facing are massive. It's going to be another Asia Cup experience for us. You cannot expect us to suffer against sides like Afghanistan without Jingan and Sahal, and then expect that with Jingan and Sahal we can do something back then. We cannot. We simply cannot. And now what Steamac has in his mind is just before the Kolkata game against Kuwait, he's hopeful that he's going to get a longer duration camp. And then he's like, yeah, we'll perform. You've seen what we do with camps and stuff. Could be, but then it couldn't be too. Kuwait could just go on
Yeah,
to
it's
defeat. Kuwait could just go on to defeat
like, yeah, it
Afghanistan
looks
by a
bleak
huge
because
margin.
Kuwait performed. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So Kuwait just completely could just run riot against Afghanistan again. And
Yeah,
what
because
is the
Kuwait,
guarantee?
yeah, Kuwait has performed really well even against Qatar. Like they scored against Qatar. We were 3-0 at home against Qatar with a relatively better side, like with a lot of players like in the squad. And it looks bleak to me as well because Kuwait has been tremendous. They have some new players. That new goalkeeper of Kuwait that I saw against Qatar was a menace, absolutely. And they are aiming for the third round. So
And
next,
and
I'd
like
like.
and if we actually go back and see that Kuwait game, it was just moments of brilliance that we had. We didn't totally dominate the game.
Yeah.
It was a scrappy affair of sorts. Yes, away game. Okay, for away game, everyone will take that result. But then we can't go on to say that we completely dominated Kuwait. That we have this confidence that yes, in June, come Kolkata, will completely thrash Kuwait, or we are sure of getting the 3 points. It isn't that.
Yeah. So after this entire tragedy unfolded that Srijan Bhai told us about,
Okay,
a
okay. I'll
lot.
just add, add
Yeah.
add to it, Konak. You mentioned post match what happened. So
Yeah, sure.
post match in the press conference, when Steamac, like I asked Steamac straightforward that, are you confident of going to the third round? And he was, very confident in his very Steamac way that yes, we will go to the third round or else I'm resigning and all. Amongst all this, when it was happening, two sets of noises actually, sort of, what do you call it, interrupted the press conference. One was the Afghan national team celebrating in the room just beside the press conference room. So the walls are attached, so you could hear the banging in the walls and celebration. But that noise was overpowered by the fans cheering outside, chanting outside, Steamac out. And Steamac needs to be really deaf to not hear those, because that was loud. You could hear Gali Gali Mein Shor Hai, AIFF Chor Hai, and Steamac out, all throughout. And like as the Indian team were walking by, they completely heard that. They were hearing it, and it's time everyone sort of looks inward. Because if we claim to be going into the third round, we cannot be suffering against BC Afghanistan sides. We cannot be suffering. Results, yes. See, if we would have played well and lost by a scrappy one goal nil, I wouldn't have been so pissed and all. We were shit.
So, as we all know, after this entire tragedy and defeat against Afghanistan unfolded in front of Indian fans, a lot of like can of worms were opened, and AIFF. There's a entire turmoil going on. There are sexual harassment allegations against some of the officials right now. Um, Allegations of corruption against our president, and all those things are picking up pace right now all of a sudden. So I'd like to ask Rutvij Bhai that what is actually happening in AIFF right now, and why is everything happening right now all of a sudden after this like tremendous defeat we had?
So before we touch upon this topic, I just want to ask Sirijon Bhai, what was the environment in the in the post match press conference like? Because as journalist, you and maybe there'll be 20 more journalists in there, all must be pissed at Igor's team. So what was the environment in the press conference room was like? Because I heard the audio entirely, and you could not sense the emotions that were going around in the press conference room, so that you may be able to elaborate. So,
But everyone in the press conference room was pissed. And given the turnout we had for the pre-match press conference, post-match the turnout was also not as high as compared. But yeah, the major houses were obviously there. What everyone could sense was that there's a huge difference between where Steamac thinks we are and where we as people that follow Indian football think where we are. That was evident. We had a colleague, a fellow journalist, ask Steamac that since you mentioned that your need for camps, does this mean that the players and your tactics are not in the same page? And then he just rubbed that question of saying, what sort of questions are you asking? So Steamac was just trying to weave his way around the press conference anyhow to get it over with. But yeah, no one, like everyone was really pissed, but then obviously like nobody wanted to openly sort of showcase it to him right there right then, because they wanted to keep it short as possible. So yeah, that's why it didn't materialize what the emotions and the outbursts that you're talking of. So that's why it really didn't materialize. But yeah, the outburst happened outside.
right. That we saw because that was very painful. Because one thing I
The
know is,
outburst was inevitable in my opinion. Like it had to happen. There is, yeah. Go ahead with Bhai, answer the question.
yeah. So basically, the same thing Ashish told me when he was in Qatar in January. So no Indian players were taking the responsibility. Okay, yeah, we lost all the three games, right? We played horrendous football back in Qatar. We played horrendous football in the next two games in March. But every time, even in the the post-match videos that you shared with us, no Indian player took the responsibility. Not even Sunil Chhetri. I mean, you talk about captain, leader, legend things. Whenever he's good, he's captain, leader, legend. But once it comes to take a responsibility, right? He'll not. I mean, I don't disrespect, but there has to be a responsibility taken. If you look at this, after the AFC Asian Cup in Qatar, only one out of 26 players made a social media post saying, yes, we made a mistake, we played bad football, and we didn't perform to what we were expected to. Only one, and that was Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. Just the only guy out of 26. So none of the 25 took responsibilities. And I was seeing the videos. All the players went, I mean, without looking at the crowd, without approaching them, they just went inside. And even in the post match, none of the Indian fans, Indian players were there to applaud the fans. Whatever has happened, happened. Okay, happens to every side, happens to best of sides. You don't get a result. You play shit football. But the basic thing you do is you go to your fans and say, okay, thank you guys for coming. But there is no sense of accountability in the entire team. I'm not just talking about the coach, but none of the players, coaching staff, none of them have balls to come and say, like, yes, we made a mistake and this will not happen, or whatever is it, whatever you want to say it. But it has never happened with Indian football team in the last, what, since Kings Cup semi-final, when Jingan scored the own, Jingan gave away the penalty against Iraq. That was the last time he came on record and said, yes, it was my mistake. After that, no one came on record and no one said a word. So it is what it is.
Well, while the press conference was going on, the Indian team right then, they were exiting the stadium, and as you know, we have a mixed zone. So there were a couple of journalists lined up in the mixed zone too, and they tried to talk with probably all the players, and every one of them just shoved it like we're not talking. They approached Sunil Chetri too, but Sunil had a lot of security to along with him, and even he denied speaking to the media. So, let alone fans or social media, you know the drill. Mixed zone is something that teams are required to present to the press, but then they just completely ignored that too. So yeah, accountability. Like what I feel is we shit on the pitch and we're shittier in the dressing room. I feel there's something big wrong inside the Indian dressing room. We don't know what, because players won't open up openly. There's a lot of things that can go bad for them. What is wrong, what needs to be corrected, can only be done when we know what is wrong. You can only rectify something when you know what the defect is. Currently we know something is wrong. What is it? We don't know, and we need to know that very soon, because they just, you mentioned the fans part. There were journalists asking Steamac also in the pre-match press conference, and even the post, I think it was pre or post, I forgot, that why don't the teams go and upload the fans and do that. The Afghanistan side did it. The Afghanistan team went and applauded all the fans. From what I believe, I think there were just 5 or 6 Afghan fans in the stadium, just 5 or 6, not more than that, and some could be just family members of the players, I think. They went around each and every gallery and they applauded the fans for being there, being the support. You could see not a single Indian player, just applaud the fans, even while going outside. I'm not telling them, not asking them to go to the other side of the pitch and applaud the fans that side. The way you're exiting, you could do that. But then there's something wrong. Like I feel the dressing room, like Steamac has lost the dressing room. That's pretty evident, but what is wrong inside the dressing room, or are there more issues? uh, will only time will tell.
Yep. So we've had a lot of speculations going on where people and a few journalists have been saying that Steve Mac obviously has lost control of the dressing room, and a few senior players are in charge right now. They decide who's gonna play and all the things, and they have some kind of a pact with Steve Mac. So I wanted to ask, like, in future, after all this outrage, do you see any changes happening where like the authority from these senior players will be taken away, and the coach will have the authority and to play whoever he sees like who he deems fit to play?
See, for that you need a strict taskmaster. Like, you need a coach that
Yes.
grabs his team by the neck and says, boys, this is my side. You can play, you can decide, or you can give me inputs, but the final say is with me. That is what a coach should be like. He should take ownership of his side openly, blatantly, everywhere. You cannot give them these spaces, because let's be honest, these sort of things, uh, what do you call it, power is something no person can ignore. You could say, no, I'm not a power hungry person. You could be the biggest monks that is there, but the moment you get a taste of the power, the only way to stay away from power is, or not fall into the trap of power, is don't taste power. The moment you start tasting a bit of power, you would want more of it. And this is true across all aspects of life. This is human nature I'm talking about. In fact, this is animal instinct. Every animal, you give it a bit of power and they will extend the boundaries. So you need a coach that is a strict taskmaster on the pitch, and a father figure, brother figure off the pitch. You know, in a way, I prefer Stephen better than this. He might not be the guy to catch you by the neck, but he knew how to keep the boys together. Where maybe a compromise was needed, maybe he did that. Where, he had to scold them, he did that. That's completely the dressing room part that I'm talking of. He knew how to keep them together. But right now, with Steamac, I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right, but what I'm just seeing, what I feel, and what I saw, and what I'm seeing is that this is not a, like, we are not playing as a team. This is not the Indian national team. Just looks like 11 random people on a pitch running around with the same color, same jerseys.
Yeah, as like we all know, it was reported by an unknown player who was in the squad of 26 that all these things are happening. That's obvious that like there is something going on in the team and they're not playing as a unit. Because if someone's unsatisfied in there and he's reporting out that like things are happening and some senior players are in charge and all these sort of statements are being made, then obviously like Indian football is in trouble. I'd like to say that. So coming
Okay, so
back to
wait,
Rutvik, yeah,
wait. I just see a comment, with
yeah,
by
yeah.
Madhurjay Sharma saying that, but Stephen played and won against weak teams. Yes, the problem is Steamac is playing against weak teams and not winning. This is the first time Afghanistan beat India in India. That to a C-graded Afghanistan side with I-League players and players without clubs, who after this game went back to Afghanistan and have no clubs, no football till June. So this is the difference that we are talking about. This is Igor Stimac has had the most number of games for an Indian coach. He has had the most number of camps. He has had the most number of support from AIFF. We could, we can go on a rant against AIFF for everything and anything, but what we cannot question AIFF is their support for Stimac, because they have given Stimac as much support as possible.
True. And if by support, like viewers mean that like he's not been given support, then it's not gonna happen that you're gonna give like a month-long camp before every game, Afghanistan and all those things, because you have a league to run and domestic football is also there. So that's not possible. You can only only provide caps before a particular FIFA window that falls in around June. So that's not going to happen that you're going to give them a camp before every international. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. It's not going to happen in India. And AIFF, to their ability, has done best to actually provide to Steve Mac. It's his fault that he has not been able to deliver, and this is the only excuse he comes up with, that like I'm not getting support and all those things. Like, we have done everything. So coming back to Rutvij Bhai, just take us through what's going on inside AIFF.
I was just, I mean, as Sirijon Bhai said about the power thing, right? We've been hearing all these theories all throughout the year, and Sirijon knows it. Yeah, we've been hearing these theories all around the year, and every time I used to fight with people like come on, this is a national team में ऐसा नहीं होता, ऐसे थोड़ी होता है. ठीक है चलो भाई एक आध when you see your team selection कि हाँ भाई doubt जाता है, but then you think this is a national team and this is about everything else. uh, People in power will not take the Indian team lightly. They can do corruption of any sorts. They can do everything. But the least I expected was to do this with the national team. And props to News 9. They had the balls to do it. If I'm being very honest, because it takes time. Because see, he's in his report he gave many clues. So I am 100% sure that the said agency and the said entourage of the player will have approached him post his report was drafted. But he didn't delete his report. He stuck to what it means to him. And yes, I mean, massive. I mean, I'm out of words right now for him, but massive props for him to be doing this and telling the world what it is. So the now basically Igor Stimac and the captain needs to get the national team in order. And I'll ask the media persons. I'm also a media person myself, but we have very little power, right? I mean, ask questions and expect answers from them. Unless and until you won't grill the federation inside out, whether it is the first team coaching staff, non-playing issues, X, Y, Z, everything, you will have to get answers from them, because Indian football right now needs clarity, needs truth. Whatever happens, the least the fans and the everybody associated with the Indian football team, the all stakeholders deserve the truth. They deserve at least something that at least they should know everything before everything spills down. I mean, 99% of the things have spilled down, and I mean, there is nothing good left currently in the Indian football national team for the men's team. But still, whatever happens in Kuwait, I mean, for me now, the result is secondary. The basic thing I expect from Igor Stimac, Sunil Chhetri, and AIFF boss is truth. I mean, I want these three people in power to at least come on camera and say, yes, this is right, this was wrong, this is happening in team, this was not happening in team, X, Y, Z. And no question, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, I'm a media person myself, I don't want to criticize any because I can't. But you will have to ask questions to Igor Stimac. You just can't run away saying, oh, wow, why don't you smell the coffee? it is the person who's writing need to smell the coffee, and then they go out and speak, and that is what the issue is. I mean, the least I expect from Ego's team match is the truth. I mean, once the truth is out, every fan knows. Yes, this is where Indian football is, and what needs to be done next. Only then the things will calm down. Baki, you what every little things will get reported, and every bad thing will turn into worse. So I mean, at least what they can do is they can tell us what the truth is. So this
Plus,
was
plus,
basically a yeah,
plus,
yeah. Go on. Bhai.
plus the current situation. If you look at it, uh, Steamac, as confident as he sounds, I don't feel he's that confident inside, because uh, he said that, if we don't make it to the third round, irrespective of what the contract says and all, he's quitting, he's resigning. Well, let's face it, the AIFF technical committee wants him out right now. They're just looking at legalities and stuff around how to weave around that. So Igor knows he's in a very volatile space. He's not going to speak about anything. Chetri knows, these are his probably last two games left for the national side. At max, maybe you could extend with a few more games if the friendlies or a proper farewell is arranged. He knows his time is almost nearing, so he's not going to do something that's going to create or stir the pot more. Kalyan Chaube himself is in a mess. He's having his own problems to deal with. He has had the AFC letters come in asking for clarification regarding everything. So, all in all, AIFF, the the top three people in power that you spoke of, they are in a mess themselves.
Yeah.
So, first they need to, sort out their own mess before they can, sort out the mess that is Indian football.
True, true. So these are actually this is yeah,
I'll just add here.
yeah, yeah.
I'll just add a thing. You spoke about the mess. I mean, the corruption charges is. I mean, the now the thing is, the sports ministry has joined in, blazing all guns for AIFF and Ego's team match. They've come out all guns blazing against the AIFF and Ego's team match. All in all, secondly, with Mr. Kalyan Chaube, who expected his uh, political career to grow. Now he has not got a seat from West Bengal. The party which he was representing, they've not named him. They've named all the 40 contestants for the Lok Sabha election, but his name is not there, and his name will never be there. And I've heard from other federation as well, because his power, he's there in IOC as well. There are the issues with him in IOC as well. So the the least they can do to prove their innocence, forget innocence, to prove themselves of the of what their capabilities are, is tell the truth, face the truth, speak of it. When you try to hide it, it you'll have to speak 100 more lies for it, and the circle will continue. It will be a mess from first to last. So everyone, I mean, you told yes, Chetri might play his last two games for India if results don't go well, but someone has to take the responsibility. No one can just run it out. It is what it is, and even the issues when Cornac is coming next, the off the field issues in IWL2, the corruption charges, the case against Mr. The ex uh, General Secretary. I mean, AIFF House was. I mean, over the years, there has been no messier AIFF house than this. I mean, over the years, you had issues with AIFF, and every in Praful Patel era as well, there were issues, but the issues were not this bad. I mean, this is blatant corruption, blatant. I mean, you don't know who you are hiring in AIFF payroll. You don't put them in right store because you hired a doctor who's not even qualified, who's just a what? I mean, come on, he's not even a normal pediatric. He's a pediatric level person and he's nursing injuries. You know what happened with Ashik Kurunian. The the Indian team did not even. I mean, they could not even find that that guy has an ACL. He goes to his club and then the club finds out yes, this guy has ACL and his season is done. So I mean,
So, and
we
Ritwik,
can go on and on.
as you mentioned about the
Yeah.
police case also of Deepak Sharma and the IWL players that had the complaints and stuff, there was another report in the media where an AIFF official also alleged harassment, if not sexual harassment, but then chose not to
Ye-
lodge a official complaint, but was a verbal complaint of sorts. So, like, you have everything
Yes.
going around for AIFF, and like nobody knows what is going on there. Like like the
And
national
no
team,
one's
the
taking their
federation,
responsibility.
everyone wants to abandon a sinking ship, and like they're just like, you know like, what was that thing na, is jungle se mujhe bachao or something like that. They're completely like that right now. They are at,
Yeah,
like, it feels like that, nobody is, you don't even know what is going on, as Ritwik said, Praful Patel era also saw its issues. There were talks of, all these money corruption, but you didn't have such a disjointed thing running around. Here it's just like, you can't even say it. You don't even know what to say because it's so messy.
true, true. So that's actually the whole.
Second thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
second thing, I'll just highlight. I'll just highlight. Uh, in, when Praful Patel left AIFF, he left 2 crore in the bag for the next leadership. Now you see how many is left. The budget came in, and AIFF only has a surplus of 25 lakhs, and in last 2 years they did not conduct any youth leagues. They did not conduct any grassroots initiatives due to COVID. Nothing happened. Yet the money uh, has been drowned off the drain. Yeah, understandable that Heroes partnership is gone, but again, if Heroes partnership is gone, yet you did not conduct any youth leagues for at any level, be it women or men. So you don't. I mean, you you had to balance the book out. Yet you are only left with 25 lakh rupees, and yet you have not paid the staff. You have not paid the legal team. So financial mismanagement, administrative mismanagement, common sense mismanagement, and again, I don't know if you guys have listened to the audio which went viral on Twitter today with the IWL2 thing. So I mean, everything is just uh,
Crumbling.
right.
Yeah.
Everything is wrong. Right.
Yeah.
So
I
we don't
we
know.
actually yeah, I guys, we actually have a question. Someone's asking like, is it true that there's a Supreme Court case right now happening on April 5th for elections in AIFF?
If
Is it
Siraj
related?
on by, you can answer.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I know, the April 5th one was last year. It was 2023. The Supreme Court
Ah.
plea regarding the elections and stuff. So if you see, and even if you can Google it, so this was last year's news. So this is April 2023 that we are talking of. This year, we don't have any cases or sort like that. It's just that case between Shaji and AIFF and all that.
No, 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 no. The AIFF Constitution hearing is on 5th May, I guess, not 5th April, but 5th May.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not sure about the date, but the month is May.
Ah, the
Uh,
constitutional here.
yes, the month is May, and yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
there'll be a new constitution, but don't expect any change of power, any elections, because what I'm hearing from various other people is there will not be elections right away. Once the constitution is drafted, there will not be elections. The elections will come after 5 years. So I am expecting an election in the year 2026 because 2021, sorry, 22, this leadership came to power, and 2027 is what I expect to have the next election. I may be wrong with the when they came 21, 22. I don't remember clearly, but we will only have elections after 5 years, until and unless uh, everyone in the state member association do what do you call uh, no confidence motion. There is a no confidence
yeah.
motion, and they beat that. But to be
Hmm.
able to do that with 33 associations, you will have to have 17 opposite 17 people who who could cast opposite votes. So
Uh-huh.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah. And also there's like that threat of FIFA ban coming in if like things don't happen according to constitution, and there's a yeah, yeah.
No, no, no. AFF internal constitution, the draft which will be
Mm-hmm.
framed by Supreme Court has nothing to do with the ban.
Okay.
It has nothing to do. But the only thing which may ban us is uh,
Mm.
issues related with AIFF going to Supreme Court and Supreme Court saying, okay,
Uh,
Mr. Chaube, you
mm.
remain no longer in power, and that is when there is a clear cut interference of the court, of the
Yeah.
government, and that is the only time we can get banned. Other
Mm.
aspects we will not see a ban.
So if what Rutvij Bhai said right now, then possibly even from the back end, we need some sort of intervention from the government of India or SAI, because things are not looking good right now. Like if we leave AIFF alone right now, so there has to be some accountability there, and government of India has to take note of things, which I think they did. They did have a meeting with Kalyan Chaube and all those people. So this is the whole crux of the problem we're discussing. Like, yeah, go
Just to
ahead.
clarify, the meeting did not happen. There was a letter or unofficial communication which happened
Yeah,
from the ministry, from the Sports Authority of India, but there has been no clear communication. I mean, official communication by the ministry or the sports authority. That's the only clear matter I wanted to highlight here. Carry on,
yeah.
Ghana.
So Vignesh did a comment. He's saying, I mean, this is a say. Kalyan Chaube has failed to meet the challenges and has misused his post. AIFF is in a complete mess. Chaube won't remain as AIFF president and he won't receive a BJP ticket. So that's what we're talking about, man. If there is any sort of interruption from a third party and Chaube is removed from the power, there is a threat of abandonment. That's the thing. Rituj bhai, if you wanna shed some light on this.
See, uh, see, the first point is Kalyan Chaube will remain in power until 26 or 27, whenever the 5 years of this term is, the 5 year term ends, right? Second thing I want to highlight is he did not get the BJP ticket. The West Bengal BJP have given named all the 40 names, and his name is not there. He has misused his post allegedly. We don't claim anything. Allegedly, the matter will is in the court right now. It will take some 6, 8, 10 months to go on, and if there is no interference from the government, then we may hear something uh, about the case, because a person like Nilanjan Bhattacharjee, who was the legal head of AIFF over the years, he'll not do this for the sake of publicity. I mean, there were media trials all over the place, but for a senior lawyer to do this, he'll not do it. And he's a lawyer, man. He'll not have any personal grudges against anyone. His work is to do make sure everything is in line. That is what it is, and we may. I mean, once the case is kicking, and once we hear the hearing, when we hear both the sides of the story, we'll come to know what the exact situation was. Because one guy is claiming one thing, other guy is giving uh, any sorts of comments on the social media and on the platforms which they are allowed to talk to. So plenty of things happening in and around AIFF. So many, and we will hear many more things over the next 4, 5, 6 months. That is a surety.
True, true. So guys,
Also,
that was
also,
the whole
like,
crux of, yeah.
I'll just add. Uh,
Go ahead,
so
go
I
ahead.
was reading a report in the Times of India where Nilanjanda wrote, he was quoted saying, "So we are hearing this whole mess about not being able to sack STMAC right now because we'll have to pay him additional some 6.8 crores or something like that." Whereas Nilanjan Das says that there are safeguards in place in the contract where it says that AIFF's best interest is in place. So again, you have this catch-22 situation: who's correct, who's not, who's who's right, and as Abhishek is saying, everything is in shambles currently, on and off the pitch. Everything that can go wrong is going wrong. This is Murphy's law working to perfection.
So guys, that was the whole crux of the problem that we talked about. We could have gone into more technicalities and small things like strategy on the pitch and all those things, but what we talked about is the main problem. That's the whole thing from where all these secondary problems are happening. So if we fix those things, then all these small things that we look at happening in front of us will eventually correct themselves. So that's the whole thing. So now, moving forward to a lighter topic from this, let's hope AIFF gets its act together, because as Indian fans, we all want to see us in that round three and some big teams in Asia tour our own country. I don't know about AIFF or our team, but we as fans deserve it a lot. We deserve to see quality teams come to India and play. So yeah, moving on to lighter topic, let's move on to ISL and the battle for the shield. I wanted to ask Rutvij Bhai and Srijan Bhai, what do you think? Who's gonna win the Shield, and how are things panning out at the top of the table right now?
You go by.
See, the battle for the Shield. Uh,
Hmm.
I think everyone had predicted it. Everyone knows it. Is going down to the wire. It's going to be the last game of the season. It's a very, what do you call it? Filmy style. I wouldn't use the word Hollywood here. This is pure Bollywoodish thing that's happening. Yeah, it would have been maybe more closely fought if yesterday Owen Coel and his boys didn't pull out that second half masterclass that they showed. But yeah, it's going down to the wire. I feel it's the last game that will decide it, and who is gonna win is I'm not a betting man, so I won't bet on that. Like who's gonna be the better team on that day. You never know. It's probably Mohun Bagan Super Giants home game. Abbas will be back. Mumbai are on a good run of form. So yeah, hope for a good game. And well, whoever supports whichever team, let them win. You know,
Sure.
what is more, what do you call it? Interesting for me is the battle for the sixth spot. That
East
that
Bengal
is
fan, of course.
that is obviously the East Bengal fan in me will
Yeah.
be there, but let's be honest. Like honestly, it's very difficult for us at the moment. With Nanda's injury too. So Nanda's injured. Clayton has seen a bit of dip in form. We don't know how the players are going to react after the break because after the last break, last national break, we saw Nunga go completely off the rails. His form had dipped immensely. Carlos
Hmm.
specifically mentioned that after the national camp, Chungunga has not been the same player. He's just not been able to cope up with the intensity and stuff. We saw Mahesh also go a bit on and off. Nanda is injured out for the season. Yeah, the good thing is that gives chances for youngsters like Vishnu, who has been very impressive. And well,
Hmm.
if not, while the chances are very bleak, I would want Carlos to use the youngsters like Vishnu, Shayan, maybe even the two of the promoted guys. Shamal has had a brilliant RFDL season this season. Being a central midfielder, he scored a lot of goals. He's assisted goals. He's good in that center of the park. So maybe give the young players a runabout. Which team is going to make it? Well, it's very difficult. Jamshedpur are in good shape, but then Khalid Jamil did that fiasco with fielding an ineligible
Yeah.
player, which hurt them. And then you have Bengaluru, but Bengaluru's games are a bit difficult. Punjab FC are a dark horse. I'll tell you this: Punjab FC
Oh.
are a dark horse. Those guys could.
The next ISL champions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
well that's a very long ask. I won't go that far, but they could
Yeah.
pull out a rabbit out of the bag because they have the quality up front. What is the problematic thing is I feel uh, the gap between Charizard and Mehdi Talal, the defense and the attacking midfielders, that Indian central midfield zone, where most of the teams have a foreign CDM or a central midfielder pulling the strings. That is that one position which Punjab FC sort of are weakened, but Sahil Travora's inclusion could help them in that place. And their defense and goalkeeping has been a worry for me. It has been just that Greek centre back doing all the work.
Yeah.
The defense could have been better. But attacking wise, these guys are on a roll, and like they have some of the finest players. Mehdi Talal, Brown is in good form. You have someone like Juan Mera who can come in and just spring out and do something out of nothing. So yeah, Punjab FC are on a roll. You have Northeast United FC too. Who could potentially make it. They were having a good run of 4 games and then sudden dip. The issue is, they're very dependent on Tommy Jurek out front. So I don't know how fit is Tommy right now. Will he be available for all the 3 games? That is also a question for them. That is going to hurt them. And then you have Chennai FC, who defeat teams like Odisha FC and Mohun Bagan but lose to Hyderabad. So they are someone you can't
Yeah.
predict, which Chennai side is going to turn up. So I feel it is the sixth spot that is the eye catcher this time
Yeah.
around. The League Shield is going to anyway either going to Mumbai or to Kolkata for Mohun Bagan Super Giants.
So basically, like every team till the 11th spot except for Hyderabad has a chance for the 6th spot right now. Even Mohun Bagan, like even East Bengal, in my opinion, is not that far away from the 6th spot because like they are a game behind. So
Well,
if they win the next game, they are pretty much into it.
mathematically, everyone is in it. Everyone is in
Yeah.
it.
Hmm. So,
Yes,
yeah.
and
So
as we
Ritwij,
speak of the ISL Shield, yeah. So as we speak about the ISL Shield, Mumbai City FC has won 3-0 against Hyderabad FC. They extend their 5 point lead against Mohan Bagan. They already, yes, they've played a game more than Mohan Bagan, but 5 point maybe, even if they can recover, they'll still have that 2 point cushion. And the last game which Sirijon Bhai said, the game between Mumbai City and Mohan Bagan uh, will come in handy. Maybe what Peter Kratky would be thinking is we will not take the game to the last game. If needed for the last game, we'll defend for our lives and we'll hurt them on counter. That is what I expect Peter Kratky to do. And my favorites, I mean, I'll be maybe 5 days down the line, week down the line, there'll be memes on social media on me. Okay, I was saying, oh, Mumbai City was winning, and then you see either of Odisha FC or Mohan Bagan doing winning the shield. So anything is possible, and the next 3 games, the next 2 weeks will decide who gets the prize set of the ISL Shield. So let's see what happens. And coming about the sixth place, I mean, I am betting my money on Punjab FC, man. I'm betting my money on it because I'll tell you what it is. Why Punjab FC? So strangely
go ahead.
enough,
We also want to know.
yeah, strangely
Yeah.
enough, uh, so I'll tell you. I'll tell you a thing. So back in Kerala, we have this thing. Okay, like every correspondent has been assigned a duty of a certain team. That a certain team will have to cover. So I thought maybe because we had correspondents from every top club. I mean, we had correspondents from Kolkata, we had correspondents from Odisha, Bangalore, Kerala. We had everyone. So I am sitting on western coast of India. I have no team to support. My team plays only 2 games a year, 3 games a year in the national leagues. So I was given Punjab FC, and to be very honest, I'll say this on camera. I said, okay, if I get Punjab FC, I don't expect them to do anything this season. So I'll have the least amount of work, and I'll finish my match day, anything what it is. I'll finish it. I'll finish very early than others. And after, but since I was following them, I saw every decision of Strikos Vergetes. They started to play 4-4-2. They started with 4-4-2. Then Strikos was the first to realize that these guys don't have a good winger in their team. So Strikos made a change in their tactical setup, played a 4-1-2-1 to diamond midfield, and made the best out of Talal. And they put Nikhil Prabhu in a CDM position. And I was waiting for the second half of the season, to be very honest. And I thought that these guys will do good because they had a decent Super Cup. Not a very good, but a decent Super Cup. I expected them to come all all guns blazing in the second half. And right, and they were, they in the second half of the season they beat Bengaluru at home in Delhi in the first game. in the second game against Kerala Blasters, who were then fighting for the ISL Shield. They kept the whole Kochi crowd of 35,000 quiet. That was a moment for me, and then I told myself that this team is going to playoffs. And trust me, uh, only two games out of 19 Punjab FC has played. Only two games they were beaten all fair and square. All the other games that they have lost and or drawn the game are from individual mistakes from players, and that you expected because 90% of the team has not played a single game in ISL. So you expect that from him, and yet to be sitting in the sixth position before the international break speaks volume of what Stikos Vergetius is and what my guy Madi Dalal is. Speaking of Madi Dalal, congratulations East Bengal fans. You got some very, very, very good guy. 2 years contract, free contract. So, Carles Quadrat was behind him. I don't know if he's a Carles Quadrat signing because he's a number 10 sort of a player and he's not. Sirijan wants to speak something.
Well, first of all, the signing itself is a statement for what the club wants to do. So in a way, this is good. Again, people are like, happens every season and all. But yeah, the fans are happy, and from what I know or what I've heard around and all, so the offer that we had for Talal was relatively way higher than any of the clubs that were after him offered. So that was the statement. And yes, Carlos likes Talal. Carlos wanted him. The club had a proposition. The good thing I like this time around is for the past few seasons, we've seen this. The club has the interest of wanting to go for a player or do something or not, but we acted very slow. I think this here is a statement that you wanted a player, other teams are after him, just go for it, go for the kill. And I'm happy that we got the signing done. But then again, we have a lot of pockets to fill in the squad, so let's see what happens in the upcoming months.
True. East
Just,
Bengal is
just to
loading up.
add on,
After that, Super Cup win. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
so
Go ahead,
just for
Ritesh, bhai,
East
go ahead.
Bengal fans, yeah, just for the East Bengal fans
Yeah.
who are listening to this podcast, I'll tell you a thing. Madi was told that East Bengal are signing good foreigners this season. So expect a whole turnaround in the overseas score next season. You all have a game on in July, the ACL2 qualifiers in July. Expect your team to be done by 15th latest. Only two signing here and there, but I've been told that East Bengal will set up the foreign core till 31st May, and then they'll probably go for Indian players who are available on the market because any good player currently playing for the national team are tied up with their clubs for multiple year contracts. So for East Bengal to buy that out, and it will be very costly. I'm not saying it cannot be done, but I don't see it happening. But foreign course, the 6, 7 players, the foreign course will be top class, and the Imami ownership is pouring the money for East Bengal, and I hope you guys have a very, very, very yes, yes. Go on, go on,
Well,
Mike, go on.
it's not just Imami now. Like the club has managed to get in 2, 3 more companies to sponsor in, so that's how the money budget has
Yes,
increased.
yes, yes.
And from the current foreigners that we have, the club is only looking towards Hizazi is probably priority number one to retain, but it's going to be very difficult. I don't see that happening. He has top quality offers on his table, So I don't know if he's going to be or not, but the club is trying. They're trying to motivate him in other ways and stuff, but it's going to be very difficult. The second is Saul Crespo. The club really wants to keep him, and he'd be a good addition in terms of continuity. And Clayton is sort of that thing that the fans love him and everything. So he could just be like, because it's the ACL, and the exact number of foreigners could can that can be registered is higher. So Clayton could be asked to take a salary cut and just be as a, what do you call it, a memorable signing, or just keeping in touch. But then again, that also doesn't look to me that would happen. So yeah, expect a complete turnaround in foreigners. Except I feel Saul Crespo. Saul could be extended.
I want to ask Rejon Bhai, like, how much? What do you think is the budget of like East Bengal right now? As like previously, I think it was around 50 crore, and 15 crore went to like
No, no, no. It was never 50 crore for East Bengal. So it
FSDL
was
as a
it was never.
franchise fee. So how much like are they playing with right now as compared to before? Okay.
Well, this season is different from what the next season is going to be. Next season, no one has a complete clarity. It would all depend on the number of companies that are associated. So we do know Sarachi is associated, and Jupiter Wagons. So you have Imami, Jupiter Wagons, Sarachi, three companies on board. So officially, how are they going to be associated with sponsors and stuff? It's still not, the paperwork is not yet clear and ready. So you should, like, officially it's all Imami. But then yeah, the club is trying to gain in sponsors, and like, this is called, there's a saying in Bengali called the Moidani Khobor, or the Moidani Adda. And the rumor mill there is like, this season we should be near about the 40 to 450 mark. We should be around somewhere around that. But it's difficult to match that figure, because there's a lot of moving parts. And then, because as a club, you see, we have to run our various other sports also. We have cricket, we have hockey, we have athletics, and then the entire club system. So like, Imami has a fixed budget, that Imami has been very clear about it, that we can spend only this much amount of money. The rest is to be beared by the club. So the club has to then again arrange its finances, that how much do we pour into football, that we can manage cricket and hockey and the other stuff too.
Okay. So yeah, before we end the last topic, I League, Mohammedan SC is just almost there. Oh, we have Sid joining.
Hello, hi guys.
Yeah,
Am I audible or what?
Hello,
yeah,
what's
you're
up,
audible,
man?
bro. You're audible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Chalo,
yeah,
chalo.
you're
Long
audible.
time. What's cooking?
Chalo. So we were actually discussing about ISL and how East Bengal is pouring more money in to the system so that they can do something good in ACL2 qualifier. So what's your take on it?
Okay, you asked the right man. See, honestly speaking, personally, I would want East Bengal not to qualify for ACL2 because I know what's gonna happen next. You know, it's going to be a backlash. Okay, fine, but yeah, it's better. Fine, we get eliminated
भाई
and
12
ACL
साल
three.
लग गया थोड़ा तो रहम कर ले फैंस पे
Like,
ठीक है कोई
What?
I
दिक्कत नहीं है.
So,
see, being an East Bengal fan, I get what he's saying, because I've been
Yeah,
chatting with a lot of fans also, and like, they have this thing, ki it's better to play ACL3 where we have a chance of winning it. Being honest, like, the squad that we have in mind and all, we can just go for it. But then again, like, if you can win
yeah.
that ACL to qualify and play ACL2, then that's a different level altogether for the club. But in terms of victory and success, then yes, the team would want the ACL3.
Yeah, वही बात है.
you ruined it, bhai. You ruined it. I was grilling him. You ruined it.
कोई ना it happens. But I mean, see, if you look at it in a way, as all the three competitions is new, right? Actually, no one knows how it's gonna start, how the team's gonna perform. So little bit skeptical here and there is fine. कि भाई ठीक है हो जाएगा कुछ ना कुछ. But if you look at it in a way, like it's a first competition, okay? East Bengal is entering and representing India. If you see the broader picture, obviously you would want Indian flag at the best options available, or let's say अच्छी जगह पे. So I would want East Bengal as it's gonna, we are gonna represent India after a long, long time. So I would want to see success. You know, I would want to see good results. वो ACL 2 में आए या ACL 3 में आए. ACL 2 में आने नहीं वाला because we know where we stand. Indian football, where we stand, we have seen that. So we are not expecting much. ACL 3 is more likely. So that's my take on it. Yeah.
So yes, I was coming on to I League now in the end. Um, Mohammedan SC is almost there. They're like almost there, about to finalize their seat in the ISL. But there's still someone in play, that's Srinidhi. So I would like to ask like everyone, what do you feel like about Srinidhi's chances, those bleak chances of actually upsetting like Mohammedan and getting that top spot and getting into ISL now? Because they have like a lot of games remaining.
I'll start first here. I mean, for me, Mohammedan are over the years what I've seen of Mohammedan are bottlers.
Yeah, who's gonna go
To
ahead?
be very honest, I'm sorry, Mohammedan fans, don't come at my place and don't do anything. But having said that, if there is one team that can bottle it from here, is Mohammedan SC. They have two games in hand. They need at most 3 points to go through. And Srinidhi has 4 games with them. If they win
Three now, three
all
now.
4 of them, okay, three. If they win all three of
Yeah,
them, they can become the champions. So
yeah.
let's see what happens with Mohammedan. But I do know for the fact Srinidhi is the best run club in India. And I'm saying this because I've talked to multiple people. They have their stadium of their own. You can make comment कि ओ भाई छोटा stadium है ये है वो है फलाना है ढिमकाना है. You can make any sort of complaints. But they are one of the most professional clubs in India. They pay salaries on time. They have a very good staff who is not just involved in first team. They are involved in under 7, under 9, under 11, 13, 15, 19. They have teams from all age groups, right? And the CFO, he started when he was 25. When he was my age. He's now 31, and he has dragged that club from scratch, literal scratch. He came from Portugal, and he built the academy on his own. I mean, the finances were coming from uh, other people, but at 25 to build a football club in India and especially in Hyderabad, which is not a typical football city, and to have a youth team at every level speaks volume. They have a very good media operations. They have a very good. I mean, if you look their training quits and everything. I mean, they are not just there for 2 years, 3 years. But I've interviewed the CFO earlier in the season, and he was very. I mean, he was very honest that yes, yeah. I mean, our dream is to create a very good football club, and not like any other ISL teams where they claim to be an ideal football club. They've shown it the world. They've started from grassroots, unlike uh, most clubs in India currently who only work in the first team. This club started with grassroots and then went on to represent in the I League with quota, the corporate quotas with the not the quota but the corporate entry. So I hope Srinidhi does well because they also deserve to be part of the ISL because they've invested heavily and the players they are developing are maybe they'll be superstars of coming years. They already have players in under 16 sides and under 17 sides from their club, unlike most clubs in India where they either come from Minerva or AIFF academy. These this club has players representing India in youth levels, and they want their players to represent national team. They don't. I mean, when I spoke with their CFO, he said we are not worried about ISL. Maybe if not this year, we'll try next year. Our aim is not ISL. Our aim is to develop football in India. And he was the first. I've never met a man who said my dream is not ISL. My dream is to develop the game, and he has already done it. He's not just saying it. He has done it. So I hope Srinidhi becomes the team and qualifies. And if ISL is lenient enough, they can have two teams next season. Let's see what happens.
So one thing I'd like to add is Mohammedan has two games remaining right now. One against Shillong and the last one against Delhi FC. And I have official word from Delhi FC right now that if Srinidhi Deccan is able to get on that winning streak and it comes down to that last game on 13th of April, Delhi FC is actually gonna go all out in that last game. Like if it comes down to it. So yeah, and I feel that Delhi FC has the quality to beat any team if they like go all out. So I have a word from the owner. They will go all out on 13th if it comes down to it. So Srinidhi, you have support from the Delhi FC. So make sure to go on a winning streak and let's make the I League more exciting and let's go down the wire for that.
Well, what I feel is, I saw what the games that Srinidhi have left. They have Neroka, they have Interkashi, and they have Lajong left. I feel Neroka they should win easily. The problematic fixture for them that could be the bone in the throat is Interkashi. And then you never know, Lajong could just. But I don't see Lajong after, like, Lajong started the season good, but then midway I knew, like, because the owners were not directly prepared for I League this season. They wanted I League next season, but since they qualified last year, they were like, why no, why give up on the chance? So yeah, Srinidhi has a chance, but then again, as Ritwik said, if there's one side that can bottle this from here, it is Mohammedan Sporting. And like, well, being an East Bengal fan, I really wouldn't want to see them touch a trophy that we after the name change weren't able to touch. So yeah, even I would want Srinidhi Deccan to qualify, and that would again put Hyderabad back on the ISL map properly because we are seeing what's going on with Hyderabad FC, and as the rumor mills in Twitter or currently X has it, if Srinidhi Deccan qualify, then FSDL could just try and broker out something for them and Hyderabad together. But I don't see that happening. These are just Twitter talks. But all in all, well, as it stands right now, it's Mohammedans to lose. Let's be honest. It's Mohammedans to lose, and if they qualify, then again, it's going to be back to those era of Kolkata where the big three are playing in the top level league, and you have six derbies in a season. Back to those days. So yeah, for Kolkata, it would be good for Kolkata football, and given the scope that uh, you have three teams playing from that, it is going to be good. But personally, or for me, on a personal level, I would want Srinidhi to win this because we've seen them in the Super Cup also. We've seen how they've been constantly progressing. Their side that has been on the rise. Not like holistically. We talk about holistic development. I think they're the best run team that came into this tournament, via the corporate entry and stuff. We'd had so many corporate entries come in, and they just folded and just vanished into thin air. I still remember when they first came in, people were like, "Oh, this is just again another one of those stories." But they proved everyone wrong. So yeah, I really would want them to win it.
Right, man. Sid,
Right.
you wanna add something before we end? Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No, you go ahead. I'm asking you.
Okay. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, see, my
Yeah.
my answer would be on the same line as Rutvij or Srijan, for example, because all I want is a good structured club playing on the top level of our country. If you take the example of Srinidhi, the number of youth teams they are having it. I mean, it's it. I mean, something which is not seen in Indian football, right? We have seen Minerva doing it, right? And we have seen Trinity doing it. So I would obviously want them to get out of that zone and put Hyderabad back on the map. And talking about Mohammedan, well, obviously it would be a boost for Kolkata if all the three big giants of our city plays into the top division of Indian football. But then yet again, I mean that's good for Kolkata, that's good for us. But if you look into the wider picture, I would want Hyderabad to have that place with the help of Srinidhi. So it would be really helpful for the spread of game as well. You know, we have seen it with the BFC. Earlier, there was no culture of football in Bangalore, but it has changed drastically. And so, given Hyderabad has a good population and everything, right? Facilities, infra. So it would be good for the game. That's all I can say. Yeah.
I would like to add, as Ritwik said, the best thing for Indian football would be to just promote the top two, into ISL, and then that would probably be the best decision they could take. It would increase the number of games, more competitive games, top level. That is what we need. Going back to the first point, we were talking of Steamac and his camps and how players are not ready intensity wise because they're not in camps. The problem is you need more top level footballing games in the country. Now just look at what happens. Our league is going to be ending in April, and then May, one whole month chutti, and then June some of the players will go into the camp. What about the rest of the players? East Bengal is going to play the qualifiers. So you have East Bengal and some of the national. That's just 30. You have just around 40 odd players that are going to be in football, and the rest of them are all going to be just till the Duran Cup starts in August, mid August maybe. So such a long break really hampers progress. So what we need is a longer league, and the longer league is only possible when we add more teams. So I would really want, who wins the I League. You ask me who wins the I League, I would want Srinidhi to win it. Who comes to the ISL, I would want both Srinidhi and Mohammedan to come into the I League. Sorry, ISL.
Yep. So that's about it in in I League thing because it's actually up to FSDL. ISL started with the wrong structure, in my opinion. Like we never had any promotion and relegation structure to begin with, and now that we're having it, we're moving like slower than a turtle space. To be honest, like you're promoting just one team above, maybe two teams from I League to like I League. So that's really like, and there's no relegation from ISL to I League so far. There are plans, but I haven't seen anything like into play. Maybe they're trying to add some teams, but pace is really slow. So though that competition we're aiming for is, in my opinion, at current pace is really far away. May, that's the thing. Maybe they don't want to like extend ISL because of the clash with IPL. That may be possible, and I don't know what FSTL is thinking because it's the Ambanis who own it. They have their own business interests. That's how it goes. But as far as football goes, as Rijon Bhai and Rutuj Bhai said, that longer league is a must. You need to have that if you want to improve like Indian football. That's a must. So before we end, I'd like to ask all like everyone, what's your like closing remarks, Rutuj Bhai? Like, or in, Mike.
Like the video and
Yeah.
subscribe the channel. Thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe. वो तो बोलूंगा ही, that's for everyone that are watching, guys.
Mhm.
Please do like, subscribe. That would give us more motivation to come on often and have a chat with you guys. And as for my closing remark, my first and foremost wish would be we as an Indian football, the IFF, the national team, get out of the mess that we've dug for ourselves. That is a must, or else there's no point in debating where we will we go to the third round or this that. No point then. The first and foremost thing, we need to get our house in order.
Yep.
Yeah,
Said.
same with me.
Anything?
Yeah, I am just puzzled after the India Afghanistan match. Oh, honestly speaking, I really don't know where we heading and where we going. I don't want to rant, but let's see. I mean, things has to get into order. We need to have a longer league. We need to have our players get more play time. That's all I can sum it up. And also, I've joined late, so I lost the context somewhere. So I'm just summing it up, whatever I understood. So that's what I just want कि like भाई कुछ settled हो जाए. I mean अफगानिस्तान से ऐसे हार रहा है इसके बाद क्या ही podcast करे. What to say? I really don't know. So yeah, that's all. I mean, just keep supporting us no matter what. It's my first day over here. I hope to connect more often with you guys. And
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
keep supporting. Like, comment, share, subscribe to Indian Football Casuals. That's it, guys.
Rutvij Bhai is having a blast. So, yeah, before we end, I'd also like to tell you guys that this particular platform that we're on, as you know it, it's called Indian Football Casuals. It's meant for casual Indian fans who want to voice their opinion and want to let the world know what they think. So as this channel grows, like, we aim to provide Indian football fans a platform here to raise their voice and let their opinion be known. So I'd also like to say like, share, and subscribe, and let us all grow together, and let's make Indian football better. Okay. Thank you.